Today's video is going to be over sheets 605 and 606 in CFAM, as well as a bonus reference to CFAM 616. So let's get started with 605, the ASR chart, otherwise known as the Annual Statistical Report. Due to the number of metrics, for time's sake, I've already pre-selected all of the metrics and the school districts that I want to analyze for this video. There are a ton of metrics to use from the ASR that are available and parsed in CFAM for you. If you were to ever get from the state site, the Annual Statistical Report, it comes in an Excel format. And all of these metrics on the right go across the top as column headers on the Excel spreadsheet. And that is very cumbersome to navigate and pick out the information that you want. I have selected assessment, prior year third quarter ADM, total classroom FTE, total classroom salary, total meals, and then for visualization purposes, I have listed the URT meals. It will be the same for every district listed here as well as every district in the state. That there is so you can visualize what I'm subtracting from the total meals to multiply by the assessment value to get how much tax dollars stay home or at the local district. 33 minus 25 is 8. 8 times the dollar value of this assessment. Now, what is the dollar value of this assessment? So I learned early on when I started as a school business manager that if the rule of thumb, and the rule of thumb is this: take your thumb, place it over the last 3 digits of your assessment. What is remaining, what you can see, that is roughly the dollar value of each mill. So if I was to place my thumb over Jonesboro's assessment, their dollar value of assessment would be roughly $665,678. And if I was to multiply that number, 665, 678, times 8, that's the dollar amount roughly of tax dollars that stay in Jonesboro each year based on their assessment. Same formula applies to West Memphis, Marion, Nettleton. All that's listed here, the formula is the same, but what you can see here is the metrics are different. And so we could sort by assessment and see real quickly that Nettleton has a higher assessment or tax base than Jonesboro and Marion and West Memphis, of course. Now, Nettleton, Jonesboro are next to each other. Marion and West Memphis are next to each other, but they're in different parts of the state. We're looking at the northeast corner here, and we're looking about the mid-eastern border of Marion and West Memphis. So there is a difference in the property value because these are different regions of the state, but they still have to compete with each other due to a commuting base. When you're looking at your neighbors' data, which neighbors do you look at? Well, you look at the ones that you're competing for teachers. The way I would analyze this is I sort by assessment. So that's the greater value, but how many meals do they have? Well, if you sort by meals, Marion has the highest number of meals, and they have assessment of 452. Well, West Memphis, in comparison to Marion, because they're close to each other, they have 37 meals, so 9 fewer meals, and their value for each meal is about $62,000 less. So there's a lot more tax-based revenue generated in Marion, the neighbor of West Memphis, than there is in West Memphis. Money that is generated, what is it used to support? And so this same chart can kind of show that as well. Let's sort by third quarter ADM. So Jonesboro is supporting almost 6,300 students with their tax base and their number of meals. If you compare them to Nettleton, their neighbor, well, Nettleton has a higher assessment, not by a lot, but some, and they have more meals. They have 6 more meals than Jonesboro. So they're getting more tax-based money. They're not getting as much foundation money, so you have to consider that as well because they have fewer students. In fact, they have almost 3,000, roughly 2,800 fewer students than Jonesboro does. Jonesboro is having to pay 412 classroom FTEs versus Nettleton's 244. They have fewer students, they have fewer employees. That should be expected, but that just is a good visualization to see all this data on one sheet. When you're making comparisons or you're trying to help your patrons understand doing as much as you can with what you have, and what you have may differ from your neighbor. Another way to visualize that is to just use 606. You can just scoot over on the top and go to 606. I've already duplicated a tab and set my metrics. If this way you can again sort by assessment or sort by the number of students, and you can see these are in relation with each other. So the total classroom FTE kind of declines along with. That's to be expected. And then, of course, if you have more FTEs, your total dollar amount per salary is going to be more. But this one does not align with this one. So you can see they have more down here, even though they're paying less than the two above them. So that's just an interesting way to look at it. And you're thinking, okay, well, what's their salaries? You know, we have to compete with them. That's where you can use worksheet 616 or 615. But 616 does sort this for you because it's a scatter chart. And that scatter chart places the highest salary, starting salary, as you can hover over each dot and see the metrics for each stage of their salary schedule. But Jonesboro's the highest, then Marion, then West Memphis, then Nettleton. So all of these are very high-paying schools, especially for the area on eastern Arkansas. These are probably the 4 highest, and they're within $40,000 and $45,000. But what funds that they generate locally to support that is all detailed in 605 and 606. There's a lot of questions and answers that could come from this. I just wanted to kind of give you some use cases and things to think about. You may want to apply your local districts or your neighbors and put this in and just kind of see how it shakes out. You know, you may be doing better or you may not be doing as good as you thought you were. So it's always good to kind of keep tabs on your statistics and how you compare with your local community. Hope this video was helpful, and thank you for your time.